Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be starting live pretty soon with Caddo Magnet High School versus the Butler Traditional Bears. So they're going to be starting to do their draft picks on the Draft Law website, and we're going to go from there. So just give us a minute to get everything set up. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so now we are on the Draft Law webpage, which is where the students will be doing their bands. So we've sent out the link to the opposing team, and our team is here. So they are the home team for this match, so they're going to be beginning their bands, and then we will do that We are using this external tool, and then afterwards what we're going to be doing is replicating these pics inside of the actual game rather than using the in-game chat window. So that way we can kind of see it and have a little bit of a better time seeing how everything goes. Just a little bit easier for everybody at home, etc. So just bear with us for a few minutes, because after we get done with this, then we're going to have a little 5-minute stream delay from me being a spectator in the match, and then we will get to see how everything goes. So here we go with the first initial bans. So it looks like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know that hero or that champ. But as you can see, blue has made their initial ban. And so we're waiting for the Cattle Magnet High School team to make their decision. What? Oh, one moment. So, folks back at home, this is our second time using this little draft law tool. The first time was during the state championships last year, and there seems to have been a bit of a miscommunication here due to the fact that there was a ban that we missed at the very beginning. So, we'll kind of see if the other team will let us recover a bit from that. But, yeah, let us work through some of these kinks. So you're going to have to forgive us for a little bit of technical consternation here. So the opposing team, we missed our ban, which we are going to put in Vex as our ban, but then they did not quite understand how the team picks work. So they have Ramus and Graves, but they should instead have Kane and Cyan is what they've told us. So we'll be seeing that for their picks instead for the players that they're playing. So sorry, everybody. We're just kind of getting used to this new tool as the new season and the new league requires its use for all of our games. So thank you for bearing with us. So as I was saying, we're just sitting here trying to figure out a couple of things. So we're going to figure out what their third pick is. But so like we were saying, it's going to be Scion and Kane, and then we need to figure out what their third is. And then it looks like it's Zerath and Jin. And on our team, we're going to have Warwick, Teemo, Ashe, Senna, and Vhagar. So we'll go from there. So let's find out what their third pick is, and then we'll start getting into the round. Okay, so they're saying that the missing picks are Scion, Kane, and Seraphine. So remember, Rammus and Graves are not their picks. It's Scion, Kane, and Seraphine, okay? Yep, I will join. Oh, that is not what I meant to do. Can you add me to the spectator pool? Here, let me leave. Gotcha. Oh, okie dokie. Sweet, and then I will spectate. Spectator. Okay. So one of the things about capturing League of Legends is that it doesn't necessarily capture all the windows properly. So you're going to have to give me a minute while I get some of the stuff going for it. So here's our basics. So we got those set up. And hopefully, let's see how everything goes. So, what we're going to be seeing here is they're going to be replicating those bans from Draft Law and what they banned and picked for the actual game here. So ideally, we should be seeing the same things picked up, except for the fact that the other team did, instead of Rammus and Graves as their picks, they did the Scion, the Seraphine, and the, oh, I forgot the last one. It was Kane. So that's what they're going to be going there. People who have more knowledge than me would be able to tell you what avenues or what different positions that these players are going to play based on their characters, but I am not as familiar with that, so we'll see once we get into the match. Now, once we get into the actual match, as I was saying, there is a bit of a delay for actual spectating. So if we were watching one of the players play, we could see immediately what was going on, but because they want to keep the fog of war and be sure that everything is kind of even-steven in terms of information, there is about a 5-minute delay from the start of the match to when we actually get to see what is going on. So there will be a bit of a delay in overall what's going to happen there. But we'll see what's kind of going on. As I understood from my team members earlier, they're going to be playing all of the same skin type, if I understood them correctly. So we'll see what their choice for today's match was. So there's the Scion and the Kane. And then we have our Vhagar, our Teemo. And there's the Zerath. Zerath? Oh, excuse me. I've been corrected. Zerath. Hey, if I can't talk to y'all, y'all can't talk to me either. Anyway, I understand. Oh. The kids can't remember a periodic table, but they can remember all 300 champions. So, you know. Awesome. So just a little bit of background here. So we are from Caddo Magnet High School in Louisiana, and our opponents are from, I'm assuming, Butler High School in Kentucky. So we're at least in the same time zone, so everything is kind of working out over there. I know we've had some interesting times trying to get everything set up for different leagues before with different schools and just being sure everything worked out. So hopefully they're able to be, I'm assuming they're playing from home. We're actually playing from school over here right now. So we've been here for a couple hours after school to be able to play. But then one of the nice things that League of Legends has been offering is if you as a school sign up, you get to get a league unlocked, which unlocks all the champions for your players at your school. So we actually did sign up on that. So all of our players do have access to all the characters as long as they're playing from school, which makes it a little bit easier to do bans. Well, harder, I guess, but easier in the sense that you have other options if they ban your favorite character. Absolutely, and we're happy to be able to play y'all too, Brian. Thank y'all for doing all this stuff and coaching the team and getting all this stuff straightened out for us. We're trying to rebuild a little bit after last year because we lost several of our senior players last year, and so we're happy to have some underclassmen take their spots and get things working out. All right, so this is the part where I get to swap over the stream capture to the other thing in a couple of minutes. Oh, it's 3 minutes, not 5. Excuse me. So, in just a few minutes, we're going to see the full screen pop up and see where they get started on. So, just a little bit of background for the game. So, there are individual lanes for the individual characters, and they're going to be picking different parts. So, there's top lane, there's mid, and then there's jungle, and bot and support are the different roles. So, as you'll see on our map, in the top left is going to be what is considered top lane. The middle is going to be considered mid, and then in the bottom you'll have your supports and your general and your ADC typically. So, and then your jungler is going to be the person who runs around doing different like tasks inside of the parts in the middle of the map. So the top laner, as I understand, is usually going to be one of the higher leveled characters, and is usually going to be one of those. If I remember correctly, Jhin on the opposing team is usually a character who does that, and Teemo is usually the one who plays our top in our area. So, in general, in each of the individual lanes, what you're initially trying to do is kill off some of the creeps or some of the little minions that are running around the map so you can get experience and money in order to purchase certain items and upgrades and get leveled up. There are major breakpoints at certain levels that can give you access to higher tier skills and abilities that then let you be able to do a whole bunch of different things. So they're trying to reach those level breakpoints in order to be able to access certain pieces. While all that's going on, in the top and the mid and the bottom lane, as those characters are gaining those experiences and stuff, the jungler is going to be the one who's fighting these little camps of enemies that are going to spawn inside of the other areas. As they do that, that is how they gain their experience, but there are also certain buffs and certain things that can happen in the jungle that allow them to do better overall. So typically what you'll see is that the jungler acts as kind of a swing character, so if there's a need for a big fight somewhere, they'll go and move out of position in order to go and help somebody out. Or if there's a big fight in the jungle that needs to happen, then they'll go and join in on that too. Couple of the major big fights in the jungle are going to be the dragon, and also for the Baron, I forget what his name is, but it's Baron something. And then there's also a couple other pieces. So the dragon will give you a permanent buff to your entire team. Baron will give you a buff to your little minion buddies. And then the other one that is usually there, I forget its name. It's we'll see it probably eventually, but it's basically an artillery strike that can really kill off some of your defensive towers. So the game is pretty much a matter of pushing forward, getting rid of some of those defensive towers on the opponent's team, and then getting deeper into their base to kill off their core. So generically speaking, it starts out a little bit slow, but then it gets quite hectic towards around level 6 and 8 and 11, which are some of the kind of the break points for everything. So we'll see kind of how everything goes. So we have 10 seconds till we start seeing everything happen. But like I said, it's going to start off a little bit slow, and you'll have to forgive some of my camera work. I am not as efficient at this game as I am at others. All right. Come on, game. NVIDIA experience. Well, I thought it was 3 minutes. Come on, friend. Aw, looks like they didn't pick all the same skins. Oh well. Happens. So on the map, we are the red team, and they are the blue team. So that was given to us by when we got our match thing. So now, as their match starts, so there's a few second countdown, and they're going to go run out and start taking position. So these little individual points and towers will spawn creeps from inside the base, and they'll follow them down their lane. So they're mostly going to be trying to get in position and do that. So as we can see, we have their Scion. Their Scion is going to be their top laner, it looks like. And they'll be going up against our Teemo. So as you can see, they're all kind of taking a generic position. It looks like Jhin is in the bottom there, and then they have their two players there in the jungle. So we have Veigar and Senna here for us. I need to fix some of the settings on here. And then Seraphine and Kayn there for the opposing team. So they're going to wait for that first wave of mobs to kind of spawn in the camp, and then they're going to use that in order to help their jungler get some experience and get leveled up. And before the creeps really start, or their little minions start really getting into the lane to where they can go and get some experience themselves. So there's the first one on our side, and there's the first one on the opposing team's side, and they're going to start going over there. So we have an initial kind of fight in mid. So, and one of the things that you'll notice is that they don't get as many points for the kills if they do not get the last hit on those health bars for the little minions there. So they're going to try and do that as much as possible as well. So we already have a bit of a hero taunt up here. So their Scion is over here fighting our Teemo. And so see how Scion got some money there from killing that one creep as the last hit. That's how it works. So let's see kind of how everybody's going. So we have a 3-character harass down on bot, and that's interesting. So the Zerath and the Veigar are in the mid. Got some decent distance on some of those attacks, it looks like. So good for sniping and get a couple other odds and ends to help out. And we have our Senna and Ashe versus their Seraphine and Jhin down in the bot. So as you can kind of see, they've already taken a bit of a level lead on the bottom. So it looks like we just picked up the level 2 on Ashe. So we're on a little bit of a deficit of levels there. So if you can kind of look above each of the characters' portraits, in the bottom left of each of the character portraits on either side of the screen are their actual levels. So right now we have 33322 for the opposing team, and we have 33322 also for the Magnet team. So usually the top laner is going to be, as I've been, one of the higher leveled characters, and so will the jungler typically, depending on how kind of things go in the match. Mostly because there's only so much experience in that bottom lane that they're sharing by killing off some of the creeps and kind of sharing it amongst themselves. So those two players are usually a little bit of a lower level in the bot lane, but one of them usually there's characters that are called hyperscalers, where if they can kind of get some experience, they grow really, 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 really tough. So it looks like we might draw first blood if we kill the Kayn. Yes, so we got first blood. And our Teemo is on the drew the first blood there. So we got their jungler killed, which is not you don't want to be behind too much on the jungle, because that experience will really matter, especially in team fights that come up in a few minutes. So if I remember correctly, the dragons start spawning at around 10 minutes. So we should see the first dragon about 6 minutes coming up there. And like I said, at around the level 6 margin is where we start seeing some kind of maneuvering and more of the team fight things as they start getting access to some of their ultimates. So we see a pretty good harass here. I don't know. One of the big issues right now is that with their jungler a bit out of position and lower on the XP pool, they can't really take a lot of harassment, or they can't really do some of the defending that they would normally do in order to kind of intervene in some of these matchups. So we'll see if that matters later, because one of the things is, as you progress through the game, the death counter takes a little bit longer for the characters to come back. So it's not as bad at the beginning, but it starts getting pretty heinous later. So we'll see how things kind of go there. As you can see, the characters in the bot have backed off the opposing team's jungler has kind of tried to cut them off at the back in the back there. Didn't really result in too much, because our jungler has come over there to help them a little bit. So we can see we're playing a little bit of a game there with Senna, trying to do some harassing and getting some good experience while you level up. Over here, it looks like our Warwick is looking in through their jungle to find their jungler, but we got their Kayn there, and then their Zerath is out of place, which should be called out by our Veigar. We'll see. So with their Zerath there, they're going to probably try and take a kill on our jungler right there, but they're being chased. Will they make it? So Warwick's in a bit of a tough spot right now. But Ashe was coming over here to help, yeah. So there's that first drag. So that's a Molten Dragon. I'm not familiar with all the buffs, but I bet you that's attack speed or some kind of speed buff. No, speed is the Wind Dragon. And it sounds like Rift Herald may be a thing that spawns up here. That was the name of the thing that I was looking for earlier. That is the one that helps destroy these towers that are defending everything so well. Oh, well, it looks like we're going to lose our Vagar. Yep. So Mustard Fandango is gone. So that's pretty rough. So they picked off our character. Although Zerath is pretty low. And Kayn is also fairly low. But Kayn is probably going to be able to heal himself some and pick up some health off of these fights there in the jungle. Oh, he's going to back. Interesting. So we have some harassing of the Teemo up top. Our tower's a little bit low there. So it looks like the Scion is definitely pushing forward that top tower. Yeah, they haven't lost any health on their top. But we're about 25% down there. So doing a good job there. Our Warwick looks like they're taking one of the golems in the mid. So in terms of level, we're pretty even across the board right now. So one of the things that you can kind of tell depending on the different teams as they're trying to figure out what they want to do with their builds and what they want to buy is how much money they have. So if you look up in the dead middle of the screen on the left-hand side, they have the amount of gold that they've won from killing the creeps and getting that on either one. So usually if you're ahead in gold, that's pretty good. But the big thing is that as you get farther ahead, you get bounties placed on your teammates, which means that if the opposing team kills them, they get a whole bunch of extra money for that to kind of keep them in play. So as you can see, Cattle Magnet's about 400 or 500 ahead. No, it's reducing now, but there's about a few hundred gold ahead. So not super duper difference in economy right now. But enough to make a little bit of a difference in terms of being able to purchase stuff. So the question is how that's going to work. So here we have Vagar again, kind of low there in the middle. Hopefully they're maneuverable enough to get out of the way. The harassing is going fairly well in bot, but looks like a bit of a thing. So the Kayn there is going to take out that thing. Yep. So let's just take a peek at some stats real fast. So we kind of see a little bit of what they're trying to build here. So again, the three numbers there are kills, deaths, and assists, right? And then we have our individual pieces, parts, and skills that are happening there and which parts they're buying. Again, somebody who has a lot more experience than I could probably tell you just by the image of what those things are, but that's not as much for me. So just kind of going around or be able to tell you what they're kind of building. Okay, so Teemo has managed to kill their Felicia goat, and it looks like they might... What was that? Was that an after image? Maybe it was one of the characters that has a special ability or an ultimate that lets them kind of survive death once and then come back with a small amount of HP and then go back down. Although I didn't see a secondary kill information, so it may be somebody who just leaves a ghost behind. So here we go. So here they are attacking, I believe that is the Rift Herald. And then it looks like down bottom, they're attacking the dragon. So it looks like blue's attacking drag, whereas our team is attacking Rift Herald. So drag is a permanent buff overall for everybody, whereas Rift Herald is going to be a temporary buff to like being able to destroy some towers. So it looks like our team is kind of running in here to harass a little bit so to try and steal that dragon from them. Will they be able to do that? They're wasting a lot. Okay, so our team was able to steal the drag from them. So let's see what that dragon buff is. It's attack damage and ability power. So that's actually a really good buff to have. So as I understand it, usually as the dragons spawn, there is a set kind of list of powers that they have, but after a certain point, it just starts repeating. So I think that point is the third dragon. So they respawn like once every 10 minutes after the initial drag. So we've gotten our first drag kill. And we're ahead by about 1,000 gold right now, which is not to be, like, dismissed. So as you can see, kind of with some of the stuff going on there, we kind of see a little bit of an interesting thing. Epic Gamer, who took some of those kills earlier, is now at level 8, whereas we have we're at 99676. So Slug Party's a little bit behind on levels, it looks like, but we have Teemo being quite our top, being a pretty highly leveled character there. So I didn't see if they've set down the Rift Herald yet, but what we'll see if they shove the Rift Herald at a tower. So one of these towers that has a whole bunch of health will take several pips worth of damage, so several of these little sections of damage to make it to where it's a lot easier to pull up. So a lot of harass going on. Oh, are they going to get... So our Warwick came in to help them do that. Are they going to kill that Kane? So we summoned the Rift Herald. Oh, our Teemo got killed and shut down, but will we pick off the Scion in return? And then we summoned Rift Herald, but the Rift Herald is focusing on creeps rather than tower damage. There's long range attacks going off on the top two. So... Oh, the Scion made it away. So there you go. You saw that huge hit from the Rift Herald, took off almost 25% of the damage on the tower. But that was a very good defend from the other team, trying to be sure that that didn't take off a lot more and do a lot more damage by shutting down Teemo and by doing the long-range harass of the other people who were up there helping Teemo. So that is an ult that was used right there. So that Veigar ult didn't, I think, do a whole lot, because that's one of those ults where if you're inside of it, it will do a lot of damage to the people and slow them down inside there. But so it's kind of like a zoning thing where they can keep them in a specific area. So here we see some ults being burned, some other information, some other things. So we got some heals going off. We almost got that Seraphine down there. Let's go back there and watch that. So is Senna gonna be able to take it? Are we gonna kill him? Yes. So we got one. Will they get the Jhin? Nope. That's good running away from the Jhin. They're gonna back and get some health. We'll see. How's it going up here? Teemo Buddy is doing a decent job mining everything. We'll see if Ashe regrets not going back and getting some health. The Jhin is over there. Looks like Drag is not back yet. So these little things, if I remember correctly, are called wards, and they help them just with vision and seeing the map overall. So will Veigar kill this Wrath? So Wrath has a lot more mobility. So see, he's stuck in there now. And so now, yep, we got the death on that one. So now we have the Kane coming in to try and help, but Veigar is a much higher, several levels higher than Kane, and so there may be, yep, a double kill there. Oh, no, not quite. Oh, wow. Yeah, Kane got off that kill. That was really good. Wish I could explain exactly what skills they use there, but that is definitely a good thing, because they shut him. Mustard Fandango is one of our higher level members, so being able to shut him down several layers below got them some extra gold for bounty, and also got them some levels, etc., for shutting down the killing spree. So there's the Scion, and so Teemo's kind of out of place now for the Warwick. They are going for, who was that? They are just trying to chase after Scion, it looks like. So it looks like Senna's going to go down. Yep. So they had it was a 3v1 there. Oh, well, okay, it was a 3v2, but Ashe was too far away to really do a lot of help. They were out of position. So, oh, another thing is that if you channel, or if you see the channeling above a character's head, they're trying to go back to base and heal up. So, but when you get hit in a channel, then you can no longer go back to base. It interrupts you. So, like that person who was very low there was trying to go back to base, but they got interrupted. But it looks like they still made it back, because they see how they're hiding behind the towers. If they hit them back there, they'll get that. I did not see who was shut down there. Oh, there's another drag. So our team has taken another dragon. When this is the poison dragon, it looks like. What is this dragon? It won't tell me. Lovely. Chemtech Drake is what it is. I believe Chemtech was abilities. I'm not sure. Wow, that was a big old gank. So there we are at the roughly level 10, 11, and as I said, that's when the team fights really start coming out with the ults and stuff, and so they definitely were able to shut down 3 of the members of the Cattle Magnet team, while basically getting a few seconds of free play themselves to be able to pull up against towers or do other things or heal up. So definitely a good basic reversal of the dragon win. So we'll see if that boost long-term matters more or if those experience and time will matter more. So as we can see now, the levels are 11, 9, 11, and 9, and 8. And we have 11, 10, 8, 8, and 8. So there's a slight bit of a level advantage on the opposing team right now, just from kind of some of the shutdowns that they've done and some of the good creep score that they've done. And we're going to see kind of how some of these harasses and everything go. So I guess it must be every 5 minutes a drag spawns. So we have a lot of commitment trying to go after that cane. Okay, looks like they decided to back off a little bit. Oh. Kane was so close. That was a good retreat on their part, though. They managed to get out of there really well. Interesting use of that ability. It looks like that lets them phase through walls a little bit. So it looks like, I guess, Blue got Rift Herald last time, so now we can watch what happens when Rift Herald goes, and so Rift Herald's going to kill all those minion creeps, and then if it has enough time, it's going to go straight into the tower, but it looks like our Warwick was able to kill it before it even hit the tower. So a good use, definitely was able to shut that down a little bit, so questionable use at this point, but it looks like they're going to be able to get at least 1 kill, maybe of our jungler off of there. Yeah, maybe. Oh, yep. So they were able to kill off our jungler, it looks like. So not necessarily a bad use of the Rift Herald for that extra time, because if you see that Slug Party's out for 18 seconds, and if they get Vagar too, that's going to be pretty rough. So they were still able to kill that tower by using the Rift Herald, just by the amount of, like, not necessarily the damage that it did to the tower, but the damage they were able to inflict on our team by our team focusing so much on the Rift Herald that it was able to do, or that they were able to do damage to them. That was a really good use of ults, and it was a really good placement for those ults too on Slug Party as he was retreating. So I'm just looking at the state of the map right now. Our top tower is pretty close to death, and our middle tower, our middle initial tower, is gone too. So they've pushed pretty well into our territory on both the top and the mid in that sense. So they've got a little bit of an advantage there in just terms of range, but the question is how will the scaling work with some of the levels and some of the ultimates as they kind of go through. Their Kane's mobility has been really impressive this whole time. And Scion has been doing a really excellent set of harasses up against the northern towers. So they just pulled down that tower. So now they're in a lot deeper. And that Kane using their mobility and getting around in order to kill off our Teemo. So they're definitely, so we're now tied up on kills. As you can see at the top, it's 9-9. But if we look at the concentration of kills, as we can see, so for us, it looks like Mustard Fandango is the primary damage dealer at 4 kills, right? And then we kind of have a bit of a more even spread across the team, with the exception of the assist there. So I am Kale being more of a support role, is doing a little bit less there. So we can kind of see that there at their bottom character too. They, not Elf, but like that character. So Teemo's really far out of position. What is everybody fighting over here? They're just doing a team fight, I guess. Oh, did the Drake come back up? Yes. So we have another Drake. It looks like an Earth Dragon, so probably some kind of defense buff. We'll see. I would still really like to know what the Chemtech Drake does. Everybody just kind of wandering around doing stuff. So they're starting to attack the dragon, and it looks like our team is waiting for them to kind of start attacking the dragon so they can have aggro from the dragon while doing damage to them. Not a lot of damage for those ultimates. It looks like we're going to get a team kill on our part, so it looks like our team is going to get almost fully wiped. We took out one, but they took out 4 of ours, so not exactly a great thing. And then they're going to get that dragon too. Maybe I'll be able to see what that one is because it'll be over there on their slot. Yes. So Mountain Dragon is armor and magic resistance. So kind of essentially negates that, well, actually more than negates the Infernal Dragon that we got at the beginning, because it has more armor and resistance than it was attack damage and ability power. So definitely a pretty harsh shutdown to the drag difference there. And now they're up by several kills and by 5,000 gold, which, as we were saying, that's a good bit in order to be able to complete builds, etc. So they're starting to push deeper and deeper into our territory. As we have Mustard Fandango coming out of the revive timer and going through there. So Scion looks like they're going to back, so probably start channeling, like I was saying there. Yep. And they're going to prevent us from harassing so that they can get back, get a fresh batch of health, and then start going over into the mid there. Oh, I must have missed something because it looks like their central tower is pretty low too. So I must have missed some harassing there. So we see these characters kind of getting rid of some of this vision that's in the jungle. So that way, like I was saying, those wards allow for our characters to see long range. So they want to get rid of some of those things to where we have less information about what's happening on the map. That was a lot of harassment going on in the bottom there, but they definitely got their character. They were going to kill Plinko, and they definitely killed Plinko. Question is, will that cost them anything with the other members of the team there, or are they going to pick everybody off again? Again, that Kane being able to move out of there has been very helpful for the team, and Scion has just been an absolute bruiser. Just going through and dealing damage and soaking hits. So they're about to take out another one of our towers. So now they've pushed bot all the way up almost to the main base. Magnet is kind of playing on the back foot here, but it looks like there's at least a little bit of damage done on some of the towers on the opposing team. It's just trying to get back out there in numbers enough and damage enough to be able to actually get things set up. So that is again from, I think that was the Zerath ult, where you're aiming it from long distance and being able to pick off the other players. So it's just, they did a wonderful job of getting IM Kale there. It has been a good game. Like I said, I'm sorry that our normal people who have a little bit more information about the game aren't here to cast it. It's just timing down here in Central is kind of rough because it's almost 7 o'clock at night and we're still at school. Hard to convince people to stay that late. So right, they're pushing right up into the base area. Well, looks like they're working on the top tower. So with everybody out of lane, they're kind of, oh yeah, we took down the top tower for blue. But they're working on our towers that are literally in our base, so they're trying to get through that avenue down there. I don't know why it's taking us to Teemo over here. Kane is a very mobile player. Being able to phase through the wall is a very interesting ability. Helps them with a lot with their mobility. I do not know why Teemo was channeling there. And this is where those level differences really start to show off, and kind of just some of the skills and abilities too. As you saw there, that Zerath ult absolutely decimated one of our characters. Plinko. Then they got another dragon, which is again the defensive dragon, so they have more armor and defense now. So more than fully negating some of our damage, which was some of the with that Scion Bruiser, that's a major boon. So we're gonna be on the back foot, pedaling it back here. One of the weird things about this kind of setup is that usually we, you know, if you know who you're playing up against, like when we did our state leagues, we were able to like kind of investigate the teams and figure out what they play and do the bans. With it being so wide for HSEL, it's kind of hard to figure out what you want to ban or ban in general, because it's really the last couple of minutes of the match before you can kind of figure it out. So it's kind of like, who do they play? Oh God, because it's like, you know, I know our top player really likes Teemo, so that like usually if a team is able to do some investigation, they'll absolutely know that they want to ban Teemo. If that makes sense. Yeah, loaning out laptops is definitely something that we want to be able to do, but it's just hard because like I don't know about. Well, I'm sure Kentucky has the same problem with some of the internet connections at home being so interesting for trying to play games sometimes. And the other thing is that we have that league unlocked here on campus, so it makes the ban pick match our process a lot easier for them too. So if some of their characters are banned, they can pick somebody in a similar vein. I have not been paying attention like I'm supposed to. Was Play Versus more expensive this year? Because for us it was the same, roughly the same price as HSEL. But HSEL offered us a lot more games. So it looks like we are back to the initial the second defensive line on two of this, on top and mid for the opposing team. We still have our defensive line on the top. And then as we're going back on the bot, so the bottom tower is fairly well protected. And it looks like all of our initial stuff is still safe in the base. So we'll kind of see how it goes. So 15, 14, 11, 12, 11, 15, 15, 14, 12, 12. Okay, a little bit of a level difference. Oh, I gotcha. So, yeah, I can understand that. We play a lot of different games, so we have the benefit of having a large pool of players, but that want to have a variety of things. So if we were having to pay by player, it would be a little bit different too. We were lucky enough that our leagues are, since they offer unlimited seats for a set price, it's actually less expensive for us to do that a lot of the time. So this is Baron, and with Baron, if I remember correctly, this is where you get the super critters that are up in the lanes. So they're fighting really hard for this because those super critters can be a big difference in kind of damage. The other way to get super critters is to, there's a couple of things that are behind the initial towers in the base that are called inhibitors, and if you destroy those inhibitors, your critters also get super critters. So when they put that down, you'll see that a lot of the enemies in the lane will get super big and get very powerful. Is Baron just got left alone? I guess so. Congratulations, Baron. You get to live to see another day. So they're, wow, that was a big hit. Oh, one of our central towers is down, so they're at that inhibitor crystal now. So if they destroy that inhibitor crystal, they'll get super creeps in that lane regardless of Baron. Like, all the creeps will be super powered. That is an interesting... Oh. Oh, okay, so it looks like their team picked up, but I'm going to still show off a little bit the last few minutes. So there should be, like, we're 3 minutes delay, so there should be about 3 minutes before they go and pick it off. So as we can see, everybody's kind of out of position, just trying to kind of deal with some things. It looks like they're going to probably take a team kill here. This Scion has been an absolute monster late game, so I'm assuming he's a late game hyperscale. So there's 1 death. There's 2 death. There's going to be the inhibitor down, it looks like, which will let them start spawning those super creeps. I'm not sure what that icon was above Scion there. Oh, and they also slew the dragon again for extra defense, so even more. Just 1 sec. Gotcha. Sorry, I'm gonna finish casting the game. Sorry, most of my team is leaving as they told their parents 7 o'clock. So, but GG everybody. It was a good game. It's definitely an interesting thing, and hopefully we can see y'all later in the matches. Have a good one. GG. Victory.